It is the We Are You Morning Crew, and we are here to give you sizzling subjects and trending topics. Ladies and gentlemen, over 450 bills have been put in place to disenfranchise trans people and LGBTQ adjacent people as well. Let's go. As Florida starts a new legislative session this week, one bill among a wave of legislation targeting LGBTQ plus rights would allow state courts to remove trans minors from their parents' custody if the child receives or is at risk of receiving gender affirming care. Now, the bill sponsored, the Senate Bill 254, would also reach across state lines to authorize Florida courts to vacate, stay, or modify a child custody determination of a court of another state, effectively denying parents who are supportive of their child's gender transition in so-called safe states custody of their children. This is becoming interstate legislative warfare over trans youth, says an activist with trans activist Aaron Reed. The legislation would enable one parent opposed to their child's transition to seize them from the other and stop the treatment. The bill introduced by Senator Clay Yarborough would grant Florida courts authority to take emergency jurisdictions. Do you hear this, ladies and gentlemen? Of trans youth who receive or may receive puberty blockers or hormone therapy, or what the bill calls sex reassignment prescriptions, and other gender affirming care. The bill defines these procedures as serious physical harm. Now, parents would be charged with felonies and thrown in prison, according to the LGBTQ plus Latino legislature. They say this is fascist. Senate bill would also require healthcare providers to affirm they don't provide the treatment to children under 18 or face losing their license. The bill's assertion that Florida courts have jurisdiction to override another state's child custody determinations is likely to be disputed by other states. Alejandra Caraballo, a trans activist and clinical instructor at Harvard Law School, posted on Twitter saying Senate Bill 254 amounts to legal kidnapping of trans children. There's another bill on the books, Senate Bill 1320, would bar Florida public schools from requiring employees, contractors, or students to use someone's preferred pronouns if they do not correspond with their sex assigned at birth. It would also ban classroom instructions or discussion related to sexual orientation or gender identity through 8th grade. The ban currently runs through the 3rd grade. Lioness?
You know, when I hear these things, I'm often it really affects my psyche. And I know that it does for other trans people listening. So for my trans folk out here listening right now, I just want to give you a virtual hug, because we are in very, very dangerous times. Our very existence now is becoming something that could get us thrown in jail or taken away from our families. Think about this. Think about you being a family and you being in a situation where your parents are doing what they think is right for you. And you're not even from Florida. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if they find out you're getting gender affirming care, they can snatch you from your parents and take you into foster care, even though your parents are not in Florida.
Right. Right.
I want y'all to know how scary that is. But let me tell you, this is a bill that is a strategic legal maneuver that is designed to set up a federal conflict. Because nowhere in the world is this ever going to really be able to happen. But what they're trying to do is to create a federal conflict that will require that the Supreme Court
make a decision,
determine whether or not trans people should be able to exist. Y'all pay attention. That what they're trying to do is create a federal conflict so those conservative judges at the Supreme Court will have the perfect case to decide whether or not trans rights should be protected. So they're trying all these little tactics, putting up all these little cases. And this one is strategically designed to piss off all the other 50 states. Because what state is going to say, I'm going to take the children from another state, right?
Right.
So they're strategically doing this so that all the other states will sue unitedly against Florida. And then the Supreme Court will have to take the case, and we will have to be in a situation where they're trying to decide the validity of trans rights and whether or not they should be protected. This is a scary day to be in, and that's why I led with the hug. Because, George, I just don't know what to do. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are right along the lines of yours and just a little bit more. If they are deciding these in these courts, we've already seen what they've done with women's productive rights. A law that had been in existence.
These Trump-appointed judges.
Yeah, a decision that had been decades on the books. So what do you think that these same, conservative judges are going to say when it comes to trans youth and receiving gender-affirming care? If they're going to tell a woman she doesn't have power over her body, they're definitely going to tell a parent they don't have to be. They're not going to be able to do that to a child. I bet you $1.
But on a deeper level, what the court will also be deciding is what is considered a protected right.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Now, if Florida can ban trans rights, then that means any state can decide to do it. So think about what immediately happened with Roe v. Wade and how all those abortion laws kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what will happen and all the laws that will be unraveled as a result of this going to the Supreme Court. It's deeper than even just the issue that they're going there for. They're literally deciding the validity of people's right to exist, and we should be terrified.
Terrified. Goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, you should be, if you are an ally, if you are part of the LGBTQ community, you need to be reaching out. Even if you're not in the state where these laws are, reach out to these congressmen. Make your voices heard. Do the emails. Show up if you are in those states on the courthouse, and let them know that this will not stand. An election is coming up. These people right now in those states are elected. You let them know elections are coming up, and we're going to show our voice at the box this year. And I'm saying this because I think this is going to be my theme for the rest of the year. Pride means even more in 2023. In 2023, this is going to be our riot. This is going to be our voices shouting, leave us alone. We have the right to be. This is the year where we're going to have to support our trans brothers and sisters, support our parents who want to have their child in a place that's safe, like a drag queen story time. This is going to be the year where we have to show up, show out, show our resilience, show our power, and not go down without being heard. That's what this year is, ladies and gentlemen. Like it or not, this is the fight that we've been practicing for. Now let's put it into action. Tell us what you think about this story and all the stories we talk about. We'd love to know what you think. Go to our social media and sound off.
Download the WERUradio app.
Turn it up loud.
Use the shout out feature to talk directly to your favorite station. It's available in your app store. Search WERU Radio, one word, today.